Yeah, good morning students. In previous class we have seen about why Unix has been developed, what are the advantages of Unix, all these things we have discussed in the previous class. Now in this class we will see about the brief history of Unix. So let me start. The actual Unix operating system was the development of Unix operating system was started in the year 1969 by very famous Bell Laboratories in New Jersey, very famous USA. So actually, it aimed for multi-user. Multi-user stands for not only restricted to single user, combination of two or more users, and then it also includes time-sharing operating system. So both multiple users as well as time-sharing can be done. Named as Multiplexed Information and Computing System, shortcut multi-CS, but it was failed due to some reasons. Later on, the two famous scientists, the two famous researchers, namely Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie, both of them are collaborated and they have rewritten the previous operating system on a very small machine, and they have named it as a Uniplexed Information and Computing Service. In shortcut, Unix, UNICS. Later on, it was evaluated as UNIX. And then, and after some time, the first version of Unix was written in one particular machine called as Programmed Data Processor 7 assembler language, but is very low level assembler language. Later it was rewritten by the language known as TMG, so which was also developed for the PDP-7. So TMG was developed to formula translation compiler. So once again I'm repeating, my dear students, so the TMG was developed for the PDP-7 in order to develop a Fortran compiler. Fortran stands for Formula Translation Compiler. After that, Unix components were later rewritten in C programming by a very famous component called as kernel in the exact year 1973. After that, Unix version 6 released in the year 1975, that means almost 2 years later, which was very popular and as well as very free version. In the year 1983, the very famous, very well-known AT&T released Unix system V, which is a commercial version, and the same AT&T was developing its system V, Unix. After that, Berkeley, the very famous Berkeley, initiative on its own Unix BSD, named as Berkeley Software Distribution Unix. So, my dear students, so after AT&T, in simple, your mind is, you have to understand this, you have to remember in your mind is BSD was developed. BSD stands for Berkeley Software Distribution Unix. After that, one more famous organization, Sun Microsystem, is also developed its own BSD based Unix, named as Sun OS. Sun OS is also familiar with as Sun Solaris operating system. So, my dear students, we will have BSD Unix as well as Sun Solaris Unix. Next, finally, the very famous Microsoft and the combination in collaboration with SCO stands for Santa Cruz Operation were involved in another version of Unix, which is known as Xenix, Xenix. Okay, so and then it was renamed. It was rewritten as it was, and then it will have its another version called as Hewlett Packard developed, namely HPUX, especially meant for workstations. Okay, after Hewlett Packard HPUX, DEC released one more version of Unix is known as Ultrix, Ultrix. Okay, so this is the brief history of Unix. So before we have to know about the what is Unix, so we should know about the how Unix was evaluated from later from year by year. So this is the basic the brief history of Unix. Okay, my dear students. In next class, we are going to say about what is Unix. Thank you so much.